vlog number 1. We have come to Uncharted. We're doing a ghost walking tour, but inside from a podium.
It's raining.
It's not pretty outside today, ladies. We will update you with what we find out. That's some ugly weather, folks.
Oh no.
Let them go. It seemed to hate them. Finally, they decided to break a window and risk attracting attention. As one of the friends approached the window, a chair leg in hand, to help pry off the plywood, a strange glow started in the corner of the room and flew violently at them. Everyone screamed and ran. Instantly, they found themselves at the door they'd used to get inside. No one could explain why it had been so hard to locate just moments before. Gould Hall was one of the 3 West Campus buildings slated for demolition in 2014. In some cases, newly buried corpses were dug up at night. In other cases, the body was never buried. A log was put in the coffin for weight. Sometimes there was no funeral at all. The body was put in a pork barrel and shipped to the school that way. But even this was not sufficient for Marsh. He found another way to profit from dead bodies. He had the bodies skinned and their hides sent out to be tanned. In one case, a pair of shoes was being made from a woman's breasts. The tanned skin was found in a shoemaker's workshop, being made into a shoe. The first shoe of the pair was already on display in a store window on Washington Street in Boston. Governor Butler explained to the committee why shoes like these were made. What do you suppose people want of them? Well, they're old men and young men of jaded passions, worn out prematurely by their vices, and if they can put their feet in slippers made from a woman's breasts, perhaps they can feed their imaginations. Beloved wife Virginia died of tuberculosis the year before, and in his grief, he began to drink heavily and fell on hard times. To earn some money, he decided to go on tour and lecture about poetry. His presentation in this building, the Wentworth Building, in a public meeting hall that once existed on an upper floor, was considered a great success. One audience member named Bardwell Haywood wrote to a friend, "'Twas a brilliant affair, in the course of which Poe recited specimens of the best poetry America ever produced." Bardwell's sister, Nancy Richmond, was also at the lecture with her husband Charles, a wealthy Lowell businessman. After it was over, the Richmonds offered to house Poe for the night to save him from having to take a late train. During that night, Nancy stayed up talking to Poe, listening as he mourned the death of his wife. By the end of the night, they'd struck up a bond. Nancy, described in contemporary accounts as bored with her life and her marriage, and given to new fads, seemed delighted to strike up an acquaintance with a fascinating literary celebrity. Poe seemed entranced by her and grateful for her willing ear. They started a correspondence, and Nancy later traveled by herself to New York City to visit the mother of Poe's deceased wife, and some say, to see Poe again. But we don't know if he was present during this particular meeting. Poe returned to Lowell in October of that year, and he spent 3 days with the Richmonds, and again at the end of May 1849, when he spent a week. During these visits, Poe and Nancy were inseparable. We have no evidence of Charles Richmond's reaction to Poe's visits to his home and correspondence with his wife. Surviving letters from Nancy's brother make clear that during all 3 of Poe's visits, the entire extended Richmond family was also present, mesmerized by the famous poet's pronouncements on the state of American poetry and literature.
Okay, fam.
All right, we're out of the spooky tour. We learned a lot about the creepy legends of Lowell. There were many of them.
We have a lot to share with you.
We'll definitely be talking about it soon.
First impressions. How do we feel about the ghosts of Lowell?
They're very creepy.
There's way more than I thought.
What kind of psychopaths live in Lowell?
There's a long history, definitely.
A lot of skinning people?
A lot of Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
Dude, I had no idea Edgar Allan Poe had anything to do with
Yeah,
Lowell.
same.
A lot
I
of
was like,
drinking,
what?
guys.
Yes.
There's a lot of drunk shenanigans that happen in Lowell.
There's a lot of bars.
Oh yes, that were once asylums, something
Yeah,
like that.
a lot of hospitals and asylums and drinking. Ta-da!
First impressions.